Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to part 47 of Let's Play Europa Universalis for Third Odyssey for Vinland, which unfortunately is late, as I went to bed last night assuming I'd recorded this, which is, in my opinion, is funny. But also, obviously, I apologize wholeheartedly to you guys because I had assumed I'd done it. So, yeah. So I don't really know what we're going to be doing today. There's not much to do. We're pretty much... It'd be a lie to say we're not done. We're done. We're essentially... There's not much to do left. If anything, in my opinion. Like, what could we do that would be seen as really interesting anymore? I think what we're going to do is going to run out the timer and we're just going to accept that the this campaign's over and we'll get to the next one. I have got a game I intend to do, but it will not be until next month. So until then, I've got to find something to fill the channel up, and I don't know what I'm going to do. Because I'll be honest, I'm in a bit of a rut mentally for like recording and that. I've been in a lot of ruts this year, and it just seems they just seem to keep coming. So I apologize if it's like a broken record of me, you know, complaining about my like being in a rut and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed this campaign. It's just not much to do. I definitely think the Vinland mod itself, the sub mod, definitely needs a lot of work and a lot of cutbacks in terms of grandioseness. I think a slower, more methodical, more Elysian-like tree would be fine. Like, I have asked if I've mentioned that why isn't there paths to the guy the mod maker, not the guys who made Third Odyssey, but specifically the guy Hyper who makes the mod. And it's going to sound a little bit controversial because I don't know if I believe Hyper's a very decent mod maker and I have no issue with him, but he did seem very, what's the word? It's hard to sound like. He didn't seem very open to my question of why is the mod so dead set on coming back to Europe. Now, obviously, I understand that the mod you have to take into account Third Odyssey, but at no point does Third Odyssey, in my opinion, stop Vinland from not going back to Europe. Like, as far as I'm aware, you don't need to go back to Europe if you don't want to. Like, that's my take on it. And apparently he didn't share the same as I asked why there could not be a possibility of branching. So ignoring that and focusing on maybe having to come back to Europe, say if that's the whole point of the Vinland. I feel like it'd be very boring to play Vinland if that was the only goal time after time. Maybe there's different things you could do in Europe. You could restore the you could, instead of having all of these together, you could reclaim Norman territories as one tree. Big, focus down the Norman tree, which focus on reconquering northern France, the UK, maybe bits of Sicily and stuff like that. Maybe that could be a goal, a tree. But I think that these trees, like the fact that you go from owning Scandinavia to being told invade all of Russia, or invade that large chunk of Russia, it feels like there could be more story steps or steps you could take that would be a little bit more realistic. It's very hard to obviously say because obviously from a narrative perspective, you'd need to follow the story of the Eriksson brothers, which was the whole point. Sorry, the Eriksson brothers, the Lief Eriksson and the other explorer whose name I forget. I can't remember his name. My apologies. But the point is, you could go through that story. So you've got to go through that. So obviously, a big focus is obviously over here, and then reuniting the Scandinavians. So I know it sounds very hard, but my critique really is that there is not enough in between steps. You go from colonizing Greenland to conquering Ireland. The fact that I know that Third Odyssey hasn't implemented a tree for them yet, and they are going to, I believe, at some point. all I'm saying is like maybe there should be some more focus, like Alicia, focus some events on building up the actual nation and the beginning of the colonizing, before heavily moving over to the whole point of like actually becoming this big nation. Because basically, all I'm trying to say is give it the same attention you give to Elysia. Give the mission trees some big four. Make them make them make sense. Make them feel fair. Give them the ability to mess with their like troop styles. Give them some troops that sound like realistic. There's nothing wrong. Berserkers, I don't like them. They're not for me. But they should definitely be one of the army standards you can make. Maybe another being Huskarls, like focusing on the Huskarls specifically, and like elite fighters instead of like elite defensive fighters instead of elite offensive, something like that. Maybe again, it's really hard to pinpoint because I'm not the best at Norse history. I don't know specifically what's great, what's bad, and what you could really pull from very easily. But my point is mostly just there are lots of things you could pull from to make the mod a little bit better. And again, this could be done solo in Hyper's part. Like, something Hyper could easily add. The framework is already there. It's just up to, obviously, if he has the time. And obviously, again, I understand there's always the confines of what he is doing in his life, what they are doing in their life. And do they have the time, free time and stuff like that. But, yeah, it's just the trees feel awfully stupid. Like, why would be invading all of France? Like, the Norman legacy wouldn't be of all of France; it'd be Northern France, and because the Normans, they may have eventually laid claim to it, but the original Normans just took the coast, and like Normandy and that. You've got to balance these out. At the moment, they're too big, and you don't really get anything interesting for completing them. Like it's like, oh, complete this mission. There's no real reason, just do it. It's like that's pretty much all I feel from this. Like, they claim the Nordic dynasty is like, yeah, give me 55 absolutism when I'm already a republic, which is like kind of really kicking like the ability to have none. It's like, and specifically the Alvin Republic, it feels very weird that we're then going to be super authoritarian. Like, it feels like a very weird flip. Now, again, I apologize. This part is kind of just me critiquing and talking about my feelings of the mods. But like I said, I think Third Odyssey did an okay job, as a starting point for the Conquer Island, like the conquering of the simple stuff. Like, it is what it is. Like, they have a tree that gives them some sense of purpose, but everything that was added by Hyper just seems to be a little bit not hyperbolic. That would be wrong. It's ambitious, and unless you're playing in a super specific, I want to do everything playstyle, and you're like being super min-maxy, focusing a lot, and not being chill and just trying to have a kind of casual time. These are like, they're not like, especially this one, the Conquer or Midgard's Unification. If you're doing all of this, how the fuck have you got time to conquer all of that? And I'll tell you, it's definitely possible. I'm not going to pretend it's not possible. Of course it's possible. But it's only possible if you're min-maxing and you're focusing on conquering literally all of this. Like, you have to min-max living fuck to be a well-downed Elysia. Unless you put down Elysia early, you have to time it well. And it's just, like, don't get me wrong, we get some decent buffs now as, oh wow, Kycladia became a thing again. Cool. We get some good buffs from this mod. Again, I think some of them are too powerful. But I also think they kind of do put you on par with Elysia, which is, not bad. It's just, I think this mod focuses on the superficial. It focuses on buffing you up instead of giving you a lasting goals. It just gives you some super powerful buffs early on, and then it's like, yeah, conquer this shit because you can, not because you want to. Like, there doesn't feel like a sense of actual need to conquer stuff. Like, what the game gives me for conquering all of this with Russia is just some more claims and then some extra loyalty equilibrium. That's it. It doesn't give me anything else. Now this one, for conquering, doing the push for Kiev, and then owning other provinces in Ruthenia, and all the provinces in the Pontic Steppes, which, let's have a look how big that is. Is it the region? Pontic Steppe region? Yeah, region. So all the provinces here and all the provinces in Ruthenia, which you do get a claim for, but, you know, for some reason the mod doesn't show you. So for not only conquering Russia, for then conquering Ruthenia and Pontic Steppes, you just get some extra naval stuff, which, now that I'm looking at it, I was going to praise it and say, that's actually not bad. That's kind of crap for how much you need to do. Like, don't get me wrong, 10% naval force is nice. Naval maintenance down, great. Naval shipbuilding time, down, great. But to have to conquer the Pontic Steppes and Ruthenia for it, no, that's shit. And declaring Midgard's fucking unification, you get to become Midgard and then you get strict control. Now, that feels awfully wank. Like, again, I know that this mod is a current work in progress, but honestly, like, at no point am I looking at that thinking, yeah, I want that. Because you have to conquer all the way down to here. Like, this, it ain't just North America, it's Central America and the Caribbean, or Caribbean, whatever you want to call it. That's all you get. You get to claim the achievement of becoming Midgard. Great, like, cool, lovely. The fuck, like, it feels dumb. Like, it doesn't feel like it's at all worth it. Now, again, like I said, I'm going to put the game down to 3 speed. I'm just going to keep talking about this. Actually, we'll go 2 speed because I don't want to finish the game too early. But again, I don't take these as all just critiques. These are my opinions of what I think could be improved. Now, again, they claim the Norman territories. You're getting the Admiralty, which it's just shit. Like, Vinland will gain claims on Norman territories as well as lands. So, if you own all the provinces in Italy, which they didn't even fucking own, you gain claim on all the Norman territories. But if you've already conquered, like, northern France and southern Italy and Sicily, haven't you basically done everything the Normans did? I know, obviously, there was enclaves. There was more enclaves in Europe than that. But the point I'm saying is, like, what extra stuff have you you're already doing more than they've done by taking all of France and taking all of Italy. It seems a little bit asinine, a little bit pointless. And then you only get the Admiralty, which gives you some naval tradition and navy battle prestige, which is fucking wank. And the conquering all of France is as bad as conquering Russia. You get some nobility estate. So you just get some equilibrium for one of your factions, which feels absolutely pointless. I just don't see the point in it. And of course, again, the other mission trees, like the Vikings Restored is okay. Like, you get the Vikinger who have a decent amount of claims. Like, no, that's pretty cool. That's a nice little self-contained mission there. Like, you know, it feels rewarding. You get a little, like, this was done right. You get a nice little faction. You can, like, a little country to control, you know, to rule over, and you can give them some land. That's pretty cool. Props for the Vikings. I'm pretty sure the Vikings were actually on Rügen. Again, historically, CK2 and historical facts kind of meshed together for me there. I don't know much about the Vikinger, but I do know that I am 90% sure. From what I do know, again, what I know could be being told wrong, I'm pretty sure they were based on Rügen, not actually on Orsel, but I could be wrong, because I know the Vikings were basically mercenaries who just roamed about. Again, could be wrong still. I don't know for certain. But that is a sign of this mod doing something very right. Because, you know, it's a lot of fun, you know, nice little vassal. Especially, I do think they could be like an Exarch-like vassal. I think they would definitely equate to being the same level as like the Elysian Exarchs. That would really add some oomph to them and, you know, make them a little bit more powerful, I would say. Like, because Exarchs seem to be very powerful, so if you were able to make them an Exarch, that would be really cool. And again, equivalent of an Exarch instead of just a March. because marches have their limitations. They're not as good as Exarchs, and they're a little bit iffy. But again, still very cool and, you know, nice little addition. I've already the claim the Heroic Dynasty, Legacy, like I said, is done. Adding fucking 55 authoritarianism or absolutism to I get absolutism's great. Like, having high absolutism is really nice. You know, administration efficiency, discipline, really good to have high absolutism. But at the same time, it doesn't make as much sense. Like, there could be some other benefits instead of just a straight up stupidly large absolutism gain. It feels like a bad fan fiction at that point. It's like, oh yeah, there's super authoritarianism now, a super absolutism, which again, just a bit meh in my opinion. Protect our homeland, take over 3 provinces there. Now that's a nice little mission. That doesn't make any sense that it's now like. Again, the base game missions do need some rework, but how is it that you've got now a small little mission that requires you to take 3 provinces, which essentially just tells you to take Schleswig-Holstein, upon which you then all you have to take is Ossel. It feels like a very early game mission tree. Like, it doesn't feel like it has that impact that you really want it to have, which, again, I like. It's nice. It's a nice little mission tree, but it's just too late in the game to make sense. Like, later in the game, yeah, sure, you can start going a bit nuts. Like the Elysian tree. I do think the World Empire tree is very stupidly large, but it's good. Like, I do think maybe a few more steps would be nice, instead of one of the missions being like, yeah, have an estuary in every trade center, which I again think could be like the last one you do. Like that makes sense to be the last mission to me, not a mission that predates it. You know, I mean, you have mission you have to do prerequisite is what I meant. But again, like, these missions, they just seem a little bit. It feels mean to say asinine, but they do seem a little bit dumb. They seem a little bit overambitious. And again, these are talking about the base ones as well. Like, claim Ireland, claim Scotland, you know, conquer England. Honestly, pretty fair ones. I can't actually fault them as much as, you know, you could probably tell I'd like to. Because they're not bad. They're okay. Like, that, they're just okay. There is no real issue with them. They're not, you know, they're not the best thing since sliced bread. You know, they're not. And I know that's a really weird saying, but they're not perfect. But they're not bad either. Like, they're in the middle ground of okay. Like, yeah, you could break them up. But I think the Ireland one's pretty solid, actually. I think the Scotland one's pretty solid. I think the England one, you could break up a little bit into conquering the Jorvik, then conquering the Wessex and Mercia. You could really break that up and have a little bit of fun with that one. And again, especially if you're gonna keep the whole point of, well, you know, Vinland needs to go back to Europe early. Then if that's the goal you're going with, why not give incremental missions instead of like missions that are very specific and very, like, why not give options? Why not, instead of just having to conquer Iceland, though in this case I think Iceland makes the most sense, you could have them go straight to Ireland. You could, like, maybe they could be missions that, you know, you choose between which one you want to do. Give you a little bit more access, a little more freedom in your conquest. Whereas at the moment you have to go, you hop from Vinland to North Greenland to Iceland to Ireland and Scotland. Or even to home. Like, I like that there's a tree here. That's nice. It's, you know, gives me some choice. Yeah, cool. We have some cool stuff there. I'm going to talk about that later. But it feels a bit weird. It feels like there's not much going on there. Again, this is nice as well. I do like this addition. I think it does give you a little bit too much power. But, I mean, this one, again, could be split up a little bit more instead of giving all the bonuses at once, you know, bin the main tree and add, like, some branches to this where, you know, you're improving your military, you know, you're rebuilding it, you know, focusing on, like, the story events, because I know there's the story events where, you know, one of the tribes you were barely able to beat back and they, you know, have to fight them again, and, you know, that's like the first time you take over, and I'm pretty sure it's this province here. They don't have a claim there, but I'm pretty sure it was this province here that we took it from, and, you know, that was like a cool little story thing. You could easily translate that into missions. And again, this sounds like I'm just complaining, but I'm really just trying to build up the mod that I like. And again, I'm not a modder, which is why I give my opinions. Like I think this is one thing actually I'm going to say, and I'm going to say this is like factually. A lot of people don't like opinions. A lot of people don't like it when you criticize or add constructive opinions to a mod that you claim to like. And as soon as you criticize it, people say you don't like it. Now, I love Third Odyssey. I'm not the biggest fan of the Vinland mod, I'll be honest. It's a good mod, it's just not for me at the moment. It's too grandiose, it's too min-maxy. It feels like the playstyle is very much focused to those people who really want to just fucking conquer everything and try and do stupid feats that the average player who just plays the game to have a little bit of fun. And again, there is a big chunk of the EU4 EU4, I was going to say fandom, the EU4 followers and players who do enjoy the grandiose stuff. But again, your mod can do grandiose and can do little at the same time, and you can focus, like, you can have all of these big missions, just have them stretched out and have the buffs make more sense so they don't actually feel like you're achieving something instead of just ticking a box. And again, to focus on like what I was saying, I'm saying all this because I want this mod to get better, and I want Third Odyssey to continue to strive and be amazing, because Third Odyssey is easily my favorite mod. It beats out Imperium just slightly, because Imperium, I think I don't know what they've done with it recently, but now it runs like dog shit, and it's just a bit, I think they're trying to do too much in Imperium at the moment. But again, the Imperium guys are amazing as well. But like I was saying, I think Hyper, if you are watching this, if you're watching this last part, I personally would like to see the mod focusing on those smaller steps, or even medium steps. I think medium steps would make a little bit more sense mid to late game, and then late game you can have, again, I think medium steps are always the best. I don't think big steps really have any level of enjoyment, to me personally. I think like there's a lot of players who like do all these big things and then get it. If you do big steps, give a big reward. I think that's the best way to put it. Small steps, small reward. Medium steps, medium reward. Big steps, big reward. Again, I'm no authority on this. I'm just a guy who plays video games, does a bit of writing in his spare time as a DM, you know, dungeon master and stuff like that. I'm decent with storytelling. That's my only real thing. And I think from the perspective of the way this story could be told, it's not told the best. But again, that equates into missions, and what do I know? I'm just a dude on the internet. So I hope everyone has enjoyed this session, and I do apologize, we're going to be ending it here, as in the series as well. So here's our statistics. We did really good, in my opinion. I'm not really going to complain. But yeah, like I said, Hyper, I do hope you take some of my, advice in the sense of, take it as it is. Don't take it to mean anything more than that. That's the best way to put it. I think your mod's decent. It just needs, in my opinion, some work to make it a little bit more playable for people who want, the more Elysium experience for Finland. That's the best way to put it. Though I would definitely say still keep the North Sea Empire and still keep Midgard, but maybe make Midgard a separate goal to forming, the North Sea Empire. Have one of each, have one or the other. Don't have them both. Or at least have them mutually exclusive. That way you can only do one, and you're not able to do everything, because doing everything ain't fun. Doing something is fun. But anyway, hope you guys all enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next Let's Play. See you guys then.